Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Social Minds, and through this video we are going to start a new chapter, that is Mughal Empire. So let's start. Ruling as large territory as the Indian subcontinent with such a diversity of people and culture was an extremely difficult task for any ruler to accomplish in the Middle Ages. And this is quite obvious that where the people belonging to the different religions, different cultures, they have different customs to rule over them, it was extremely difficult for any of the ruler. So this was a difficult task. Now, this work was successfully done by the Mughals. It means that Mughals were able to rule over the Indian subcontinent where people belonging to the diverse backgrounds lived. Now, how they managed to rule over them? So basically we are going to study about this, that how the Mughals were managed to rule over Indian subcontinent for a long period of time. Now, how Mughals managed? First of all, Timur invaded Delhi in 1398, and that time there was a political chaos in the northwest of India, as well as the power, the central authority of the Sayyid dynasty and the Lodi dynasty also became weak. So it was a good opportunity for the new dynasty, and it was under such conditions that Mughal established an empire and covered almost the whole of the Indian subcontinent. So first of all they expanded their kingdom from Agra and Delhi, and in the 17th century they controlled nearly all of the subcontinent. Now, this map shows the area where the Mughals ruled. First of all, let me clear you the meaning of Indian subcontinent. Like today, we have the countries or with specific boundaries, and even within a country, we have the different states with specific boundaries. But in the past, there was no such specific boundaries between the areas. So, this Indian subcontinent actually covered the entire India, like present area in India we have, and beside that, it also covered the area of Pakistan, this Afghanistan, and Iran, Iraq, means nearby the areas, even this Nepal, Bhutan also. So that was the Indian subcontinent. So the Mughals were able to rule over that vast territory, and they ruled for more than 300 years, that lasted from 1526 to 1858. But except for a brief period, for a short period under the Sultans, or we can say here the Sur dynasty, Sher Shah Suri was the Afghan ruler who ruled over Delhi for a short period of time, which lasted from 1540 to 1555. So this was the time period when Sher Shah Suri ruled over the Indian subcontinent. Now, who were Mughals? Mughals कौन थे? This is very important to understand here who were Mughals. Now, the Mughals were descendants of two great lineage of rulers. They were the successor of the two great families. From the mother's side, they were the descendants of Genghis Khan. They were the successors of Genghis Khan, who was Mongol ruler, and this Genghis Khan was called as Mongol ruler because he was the ruler of Mongolia that time. And beside that, this Genghis Khan ruled over China and Central Asia as well. And from the father side, they were the successor of Timur. Timur was the person who invaded Delhi in 1398 Common Era, and Timur was the ruler of Iran and modern Turkey. He ruled over Iran, Iraq and modern Turkey. So uh, this Mughals were the successor of Genghis Khan and Timur. Now it's very interesting to know here that Mughals did not like to be called as Mughal or Mongol. उनको ये बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं था कि उनको मुगल या मंगोल कहें, एंड दिस वॉज बिकॉज ऑफ द गेंजिस खान, क्योंकि गेंजिस खान की जो मेमोरी थी दैट वॉज एसोसिएटेड विद द मास्क्योर ऑफ इननुमेरेबल पीपल. This Genghis Khan was considered as a brutal ruler, very you can say a dictator, but they proud of their Timurid ancestry. फादर साइड से वो टिम्यूर के सक्सेसर्स थे एंड दे प्राउड ऑफ दिस ancestry. Not least of all because their great ancestor had captured Delhi in 1398, and this was the reason that why they loved to be called as the successor of the Timur, because Timur invaded Delhi in 1398. So this was the name Uzbeks. Uzbeks, they were the another Mongol tribe who were a competitor of Mughals. तो ये Mughals के competitor थे, and this was also the tribe who ruled over China and Central Asia. Now the entire China and Central Asia was not ruled by the Genghis Khan. This was also the tribe, the Mongol was also the tribe who ruled over some of the areas of the China and Central Asia. And in the same way, Uzbeks were also the tribe, Mongols tribe, and they gave a tough competition to the Mughals. Now, this was the list of the great Mughal emperors. The first one we have the Babur, who ruled from 1526 to 1530, and he was called as the first of the Mughals because he laid the foundation of Mughal empire in India. Then at second place we have Humayun, and he was called as the luckless leader. Otherwise the meaning of this Humayun is lucky, but he was not lucky at all, and this we will do in the next slide. Then Akbar, the third great emperor, and he was called as Akbar the Great. The adjective was given to this ruler. Then at fourth place we have Jahangir, and he was considered as the conqueror of the world because during this time period the expansion of the Mughal empire was at its zenith, उसकी peak पर था, because Akbar started conquering the areas of the Indian subcontinent, and that work was continued by Jahangir also. And then at fifth number we have the Shah Jahan, the king of the world, and at sixth number we have the Aurangzeb, which was also called as the intolerant. Now it was very surprising to know here that these six rulers were called as the great Mughals. Means this was the era which started from 1526 when the Babur laid the foundation of Mughal empire in India, and it continued till the death of Aurangzeb, which was in 1707. So these years were called as the first phase of the Mughal history, and that first phase was the great Mughals, because all these were called as the great Mughals. Now it doesn't mean that with the death of the Aurangzeb the Mughal empire came to an end. With the death of the Aurangzeb, the next phase of the Mughal empire was started, and that was called as the later Mughals. And the Mughal empire came to an end in the year 1858 when the British Parliament finally controlled the Indian subcontinent. So this is the list of the great Mughal emperors. Now we will do about the major campaigns and events that were taken by these great Mughal emperors. Now, first we have the great Mughal emperor Babur. Babur, he was the first Mughal emperor and he ascended the throne at Fargana, a small area in Transoxania, in 1494 when he was of 12 years only. But he had to leave his hometown because it was captured by the Uzbek tribe. I told you about the Uzbek. That was the another tribe who were the competitors of the Mughals. So Uzbek controlled the Fargana province and he had to leave that area. But gradually then he was managed to get control over the Kabul, and there also the political conditions were not stable, and meanwhile he was invited by the nobles of Ibrahim Lodi, because by that time the Ibrahim Lodi ruled over Delhi or Indian subcontinent, but the nobles were not happy with the Lodi's administration, so they invited Babur to make an attack here. So he turned to India in 1526. Now this 1526 year is very important because in this 1526 the first battle of Panipat was fought between Babur and Ibrahim Lodi, in which Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi and laid the foundation of Mughal Empire in India. So this first battle of Panipat is very important because it turned the history of India, because it paved the way or it opened the gate for the Mughal emperors in India. Then in 1527 Babur defeated Rana Sanga, Rajput rulers and allies उसके जो supporters थे at Kanwa. Then in 1528 Babur defeated again the Rajput, because there were many Rajput rulers. They were also they ruled over small provinces. So many Rajput rulers were there that time. So in 1528 again Babur defeated the Rajputs at Chanderi and established control over Agra and Delhi before his death. Now, why he was able to won all the battles? Because he was a skilled commander and he trained soldiers on horses, which contributed to the victory. Beside this, he used gunpowder. He is the first person who used gunpowder in battles. However, this Ibrahim Lodi had elephants and huge army, but he didn't know how to control them, and Babur had guns and he used them to scare the elephant. So the soldiers finally with the help of the trained soldiers or with the help of this gunpowder, Babur defeated all the Rajput rulers and the Ibrahim Lodi. So after capturing the different provinces, he made Agra as the capital, and his time period, he reigned for just 4 years and died in 1530. So he came to India in 1526 and his life was full of the battles. Throughout that 4 years he was busy in fighting the battles with the different rulers and laid the strong foundation of the Mughal Empire in India. So next we have the Humayun. Now Humayun inherited a disunited and disorganized empire. Means Babur was trying to expand the territories and that time he tried his best to consolidate the area, but that was just the beginning, and he just ruled for the 4 years only. So Humayun inherited a disunited and disorganized empire, and moreover this Humayun had given the charge of vast territories to his three brothers, namely Kamran, Hindal, and Askari. Now, first of all, that एक तो हुमायूं को जो एम्पायर मिला वो डिसऑर्गेनाइज था. सेकेंडली, ही हैड टू फेस्ड लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स फ्रॉम हिज ब्रदर्स, जिसमें सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट रोल किसका रहा? मिर्ज़ा कामरेन का. ऑल्दो हुमायूं हैड गिवन द प्रोविंसेस टू हिज ब्रदर्स, तीनों ब्रदर्स को उसने प्रोविंसेस दिए थे टू रूल ओवर देयर प्रोविंसेस, बट throughout the life he faced the problems from his brother which weakened the Humayun authority. Clear? And he fought 2 battles with Sher Khan. Sher Khan was the Afghan ruler that time, and this Sher Khan got the support from his brother that was Mirza Kamran. मतलब मिर्ज़ा कामरेन ने सपोर्ट किया था शेर खान को. ठीक है. सो Humayun fought 2 battles with Sher Khan. One was at Chausa and the another was at Kanuj. And finally, he was defeated at the hands of the Sher Khan, and then he had to exile to Iran. ठीक है, वो वापस ईरान चला गया था. He had to flee. Then in Iran, Humayun received help from the Safavid Shah. So with the help of this Safavid Shah, he recaptured Delhi in 1550. ये जो बैटल ऑफ कनूज हुई थी वो 1540 में हुई थी. तो 1540 में he was defeated and then he flee to Iran, and then he remained in Iran there and got the support from the Safavid Shah, and with his support again he recaptured Delhi in 1555. But he was a luckless one, a luckless king, because he recaptured Delhi in 1555 and he died in 1556. तो एक ही साल में उसकी डेथ हो गई, and because of the incident that he fell down from the steps of his library. और जनरली ये भी कहा जाता है कि दिस वॉज अ कॉन्स्पिरेसी विच वॉज प्लॉटेड बाय हिज ब्रदर मिर्ज़ा कामरेन. So after recapturing the Delhi, he didn't get the chance to rule over the Indian subcontinent. So this is about the Humayun. And in the list, the next ruler we have Akbar. Now Akbar was called as the great ruler. Now Akbar was just 13 years old when he became emperor. His reign period started from 1556 to 1605. क्योंकि जब हुमायूं की डेथ हुई 1556 में, he was just 13 years old, and with his death he ascended the throne. But he was minor that time. So Bairam Khan became the mentor of Akbar. So कुछ साल तक अकबर जो था he was under the control of Bairam Khan. After that, when he was able to control, or when he learnt all the administrative features, then he made himself free from the control of Bairam Khan, and then his reign can be divided into 3 periods. The first period was from 1556 to 1570. Now in this period, the first thing that happened, that he became independent of the regent, means mentor बैरम खान. ठीक है, तो बैरम खान के उससे फ्री हो गया था. देन ही लॉन्च्ड मिलिट्री कैंपेन्स अगेंस्ट द सूरीज. सूरीज वही जिसका अफगान रूलर था शेर शाह. तो सूरी डायनेस्टी के अगेंस्ट then Afghans, then against Malwa, Gondwana, and to suppress the revolt of his half brother Mirza Hakim and the Uzbek also. तो ये सब क्या थे, ये सारे कॉम्पिटिटर्स थे मुगल एम्परर्स के. So when he became independent from the control of the Badam Khan, he launched the military campaigns and he succeeded in these military campaigns also. The next phase was from 1572 to 1585. Now in this during these years the military campaigns were taken place in Gujarat, which were followed in the Bihar, Bengal and Orissa. तो ईस्ट साइड की तरफ भी क्या है, कैंपेनिंग स्टार्ट हो गई. एंड however these campaigns were complicated by the मिर्ज़ा हाकिम. मिर्ज़ा हाकिम ने बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट की by taking the support of the Uzbek, but all that problems were suppressed by Akbar successfully. Then the next third phase, that third phase started from 1585 to 1605. Now in this the campaigns were launched in the northwest. अब देखो हर एक एरिया में पहले कहाँ नॉर्थ को कंट्रोल किया, देन नॉर्थ ईस्ट को कंट्रोल किया. नाउ द मिलिट्री कैंपेन्स were towards the northwest, and in the northwest he seized कंधार, जो कि अफगानिस्तान की तरफ है. ठीक है, उस समय कंधार was under the Safavid. Clear? Then Kashmir, the extreme north part of India, presently India. So Kashmir was annexed, then Kabul was annexed after the death of Mirza Hakim. So after this controlling this northwest area, then Akbar shifted towards the Deccan side of India, means south side. So in the south Akbar controlled Berar, Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar. So slowly and gradually the empire was extended in the Akbar's reign. But in the last year of his reign, Akbar was distracted by the rebellion of Prince Salim. Salim was the son of Akbar, and he became Emperor Jahangir after the death of अकबर. तो प्रिंस सलीम ही है जो अकबर की डेथ के बाद जहांगीर एम्परर बने. सो इन द लास्ट ईयर ऑफ हिज रूलिंग अकबर फेस्ड अ रेबल फ्रॉम द प्रिंस सलीम. So next in the list we have Jahangir. Now whatever the military campaigns were started by the Akbar, that was continued by Jahangir. So military expeditions, military annexation, that was continued by Jahangir, which were started by the Akbar. And in that campaigns, the Sisodia ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted the Mughal service. So without any resistance, Mewar, the Sisodia ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted the Mughal service. Then some of the campaigns were not successfully handled by Jahangir, and that was of Sikh, Ahoms and Ahmednagar. In these areas Jahangir was not succeeded. Then Prince Khurram, the future Emperor Shahjahan, जो कि जहांगीर का बेटा, rebelled in the last years of his reign. This was the trend in the history of Mughal emperors. Allowed, and this Jahangir, this was very important point. This Jahangir was the first emperor who allowed foreigners like the Portuguese and English into India for trade. So he was the ruler, the first ruler who gave permission to the European countries to do trade in India. And the important one point about Jahangir, that ही मैरिड टू नूर जहाँ एंड कहा जाता है कि अबाउट दिस नूर जहाँ, मेहरुनिसा इसका नाम था, बट नूर जहाँ शी गॉट द टाइटल फ्रॉम जहांगीर ओनली एंड शी बिकेम द रियल रूलर ऑफ द empire until the death of her husband, means until the death of Jahangir was totally in the influence of Noor Jahan. So indirectly, not directly but indirectly, in the name of the Jahangir, that time the Indian subcontinent was ruled by Noor Jahan. So next in the list we have Shahjahan. Mughals campaign continued in the Deccan साउथ साइड अंडर शाहजहाँ. तो जो मिलिट्री अनेक्सिएशन थी, जो मिलिट्री एक्सपेंशन थी डेक्कन साइड में, दैट वाज कंटिन्यूड बाय शाहजहाँ एंड द अफगान नोबल जहान लोदी rebelled and was defeated. Shahjahan defeated that, and the campaigns were also launched against Ahmednagar, Bundels, and they were defeated also, and their area was seized by Shahjahan. In the northwest, the campaign to seize Balkh from the Uzbek was unsuccessful and Kandahar was lost to Safavid. जो कि कंधार अकबर ने सफ़ियाद से जीत लिया था, वो कंधार जो है शाहजहाँ के टाइम पीरियड में सफ़ियाद ने वापस ले लिया. सो दीज वर सम ऑफ दी you can say the military campaigns in which Shahjahan was not succeeded. In 1632, Ahmednagar was finally annexed and Bijapur forces sued for peace. तो इन द डेक्कन अहमदनगर और बीजापुर ये दोनों ही क्या हैं, मुग़ल किंगडम में एंटर हो गए. नाउ फॉर द शाहजहाँ इट्स कॉल्ड एज दैट ही वॉज अ पैट्रन ऑफ द arts, and this can be seen in many of the monuments, because he was the patron of the arts and he wanted to show that love through the monuments. So he built many great architecture buildings including the Taj Mahal and the Peacock Throne. This Peacock Throne, this is a brilliant gold throne which was studded with precious gems and stones. And this is very important that अभी तक जो मुग़ल एम्पायर की कैपिटल थी दैट वाज आगरा, बट शाहजहाँ मेड दिल्ली एज कैपिटल. और कैपिटल जब दिल्ली को कैपिटल बनाया गया तो दिल्ली में रेड फोर्ट है, तो रेड फोर्ट was the residence of the Mughal emperor. तो वो एक symbol है, the symbol of majesty of the Mughal emperors. But in 1657 to 1658 there was a conflict over succession amongst Shahjahan's son. तो शाहजहाँ के जो बेटे थे उनमें लड़ाई झगड़ा शुरू हो गया over the succession. In which the Aurangzeb was at the supreme position. He won and his three brothers including Dara Shikoh were killed. So Aurangzeb was considered as the intolerant ruler and he wanted the throne at any cost. So he killed his three brothers and managed to get the throne from the Shahjahan. And at that time even Shahjahan was imprisoned for the rest of his life in Agra. तो शाहजहाँ को इम्प्रिजन कर दिया बाय द औरंगजेब. औरंगजेब kept his father in an octagonal fort, आगरा फोर्ट, जिसको रेड फोर्ट भी बोलते हैं, आगरा में है, फ्रॉम वेयर ही कैन सो द ताजमहल. So the last Mughal emperor, great Mughal emperor, was Aurangzeb, and Aurangzeb faced several rebellions, several rebels or the revolts. However, he succeeded to the throne after winning the war of succession against his brothers. But in the northeast, the Ahoms were defeated in 1663, but they rebelled again in the 1680s. Then campaign in the northwest against the Sikhs were temporarily successful. Aurangzeb, for a short period of time, Aurangzeb was succeeded in suppressing the power of Sikh, but later on again they revolted against the Aurangzeb. And Mughal intervention in the succession and internal politics of the Rathore Rajputs or Marwar led to their rebellion. अभी तक क्या था कि राजपूत के साथ जो अलायंसेस थे मुगल एम्पायर्स के, दैट the relations were good, but in the Aurangzeb time period, when Aurangzeb started taking interest in the internal matters of the Rajput, so they became rebel. Then campaign against the Maratha chieftain Shivaji were initially successful, but Shivaji declared himself an independent king. Shivaji started the guerrilla warfare or a hidden warfare. So, when Shivaji was imprisoned by Aurangzeb in Agra, he managed to flee from Agra imprisonment, Agra jail, and he declared himself an independent king, and then he started his campaigns against the Mughals. So Shivaji posed a great challenge to the Mughal authority, and in this challenges Prince Akbar, यहाँ पर जो अकबर है, he was the son of Aurangzeb and rebelled against Aurangzeb, and he received support from the Marathas, from the Shivaji and the Deccan Sultanate. And then he finally, however, Akbar was not succeeded, the son of Aurangzeb was not succeeded in that, and then he finally fled to Safavid, Iran. Then after Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanate. Then that time Bijapur was annexed in 1685 and Golconda in 1687. Besides that, Aurangzeb also had to face the rebellion in North India of the Sikh. जाट की तरफ से भी रिवोल्ट्स थे, सतनामीज की तरफ से रिवोल्ट थे, एंड इवन इन द नॉर्थ ईस्ट ऑफ द Ahoms and in the Deccan of the Marathas. And his death was followed by a succession conflict amongst his sons. So this was about the major campaigns and events which were taken by the Mughal emperors. So with this, I have come to the end of this session, and I will be back soon to continue the chapter. Till then, keep learning and take care. Have a nice day.